Hello, Leos. This is your bonus reading because you guys were the most watched and most viewed video from the last set of videos. So first, I just want to say thank you guys so much. Having the views and the comments and the messages that were sent, it's just been really awesome and I appreciate it so much. So this is my thank you to you guys. I'm going to give you an additional reading here, and then I'll still do your reading for May 1st through the 15th. Now, I will say, I sometimes don't remember tons of information about the readings once I'm done with them, but I do remember Leo had like a ton of cards in the last reading from for the second half of April. And so if you have not watched that video and you are a Leo, definitely go and watch that one, because I just remember there were all these cards that were just like perfectly wonderful, like divinely supported relationships, and they all just kept clumping together when I was trying to clarify. Well, it looks like that's continuing for you guys because these cards that came out during the pre-shuffle, I just left them out because I decided this is where I would start. And I'm still deciding whether I'm going to put these back into the deck and see if any more of them come out, or whether I'm just going to actually start the reading here. But so let's just take a look at these cards. So we'll just say this is how clear this is. So I love these. This is a new deck of cards that I have. They're the Mystic Mondays Tarot. And I love this illustration of the King of Pentacles because I think it just summarizes the King of Pentacles so well. Now keep in mind, don't get caught up on the gender. This is really just representing a masculine energy. But yeah, this king is successful and business-minded, is a leader, is very disciplined, lives a life of success and abundance, and they have everything pulled together. They're someone who they're very impressive, and they're aware that they are very impressive. Now, I'm going to say there were two outcomes that sort of popped into my head when I saw these cards. So I'm going to speak briefly about both of them. So the other cards coming out here, you have the Knight of Swords, and all these cards did come out upright. So the Knight of Swords, this is a very fast-moving, fast-thinking, quick energy. I feel like this King of Pentacles is going to come in very quickly with an offer of stability and love. This is the Wish Come True card. So the Four of Pentacles represents security. It can represent sort of saving money. With these cards that have come out with it, I don't necessarily get any of the interpretations of this card that are more around like control or scarcity. I feel like it's more of the positive things. So based on this first group of you, it's really just that this wish come true, this offer that's coming in from this Knight of Pentacles, it is solid, it's stable, it is something that you can trust. Now, for another group of you, I feel that for those listening to me right now, I sort of look at this a little bit differently. I feel like for some of you listening to me, there was a time when you were in a space of scarcity, when you did not have the stability and stableness that you wish that you had, and you did spend time working hard and saving money so that now you can come in to offer this divine wish come true sort of offer to someone and show up for them as the King of Pentacles, meaning you are actually sort of embodying this energy yourself. And this is sort of the journey that you've been on to get there. So I want to sort of make those two clear. I think I am just going to put these cards back into the deck and stick with this deck for the rest of the reading. Just because, let's see if any of those come back out. And let's see if I can actually remember what they were. So this is just going to start your bonus reading. So anything for Leos. regarding love. Share insights, information, guidance for Leos regarding love. Any insight, guidance, clarity for Leos regarding love. Okay, let's see what we have here. Last card out. So the Four of Pentacles has come back out. It did come out sort of sideways, so I'm just going to leave it that way for now. We might flip it, but let's just sort of look through and see what's going on here. Okay, so the first card out, we have the Nine of Wands, and it is reversed. So this card is the card of struggle, defensiveness. It can represent paranoia. I don't feel that right now on this card. What I do feel is being really overwhelmed, very overwhelmed. And I do also get a defensiveness. Coming out next to that, we have the Seven of Swords reversed. This card can represent sort of doubting yourself, fearing that others will see that you aren't as good as you say you are, or that you're not as accomplished as you say you are. Very often, this energy is not necessarily accurate. It's almost like a deceiving of yourself. It's doubting yourself when it's not necessarily justified to do so. This card can also represent keeping secrets. So again, this Four of Pentacles did come out, and you know, this was the one that was sort of showing the security and stableness, or sort of the growth financially. When I discussed the pre-shuffle, what I'm getting here is more with it coming out sideways like this. It can either mean that this is sort of what's, you know, sort of crossing the reading, crossing the energy, or it can mean 50-50. So it could be that right now you're sort of swinging back and forth between really overindulging and overspending, and then catching yourself and really being focused and mindful on trying to budget and trying to save money and being a little bit more conservative. And then you get into a mindset where you feel like, well, that's too much control, and I don't feel like I'm having any fun, and I'm not getting to enjoy anything. And so then you swing back to overspending and overindulging. And you have to find a balance between those two, so that you're not overspending, you're not overindulging, but you're also not like cutting every bit of fun out of your life. You're allowing yourself to, you know, be rewarded for hard work, but you're not, you know, spending every penny as soon as it comes in. The next two cards, we have the Ten of Cups reversed and the Knight of Wands reversed. And that energy is interesting because the Ten of Cups reversed, that does represent, for me, a struggling relationship that is currently disconnected. And the reason for that for me is because tens do represent cycles, closures, and then by default also represent new beginnings. When the card is reversed, for me, it means that for whatever reason, the relationship it's not ending and it's not progressing. It's some, you know, it's sort of like stuck in a way. Coming out with the Knight of Wands, which is also reversed, this energy around this card feels like it's very focused towards frustration, for sure, but it also feels like the energy is just really unfocused and scattered. It's not, there's not a, like, See, I can barely even talk. That's how this energy feels. It feels very disorganized, hasty, frustrated, uncertain. And I feel like that is the reason why this card feels very much like there's a struggle, and it's potentially even that like the two people here aren't even in communication with one another. Like they're so disconnected that there's literally no communication. But it's also not over, if that makes any sense. I'm going to switch decks just because these cards seem a little, I mean, it's interesting. This could just be for a completely different group. It could be that the pre-shuffle cards that came out were for group one of you guys, and there's another group of Leos who maybe their life is not all rosy and rainbows, and they wanted to get some information as well. So I'm going to go with it. What do I want to clarify here? I mean, let's start by looking at this Nine of Wands. Clarify the Nine of Wands in reverse for Leo. Clarify the Nine of Wands in reverse for Leo. Okay. So we have Death in reverse coming out. This is just another card. It's Scorpio energy, but this is just also it's fearing change and digging your heels in, holding on, really fighting, letting something come to an end. It can represent sort of turning inward and having a bit of a you know, not to the level of like a dark night of the soul or an ego death, but having a bit of a personal transformation, really having a large amount of growth. It can represent that. Let's clarify the Death card. Let's see what this is supposed to represent. Okay, so King of Swords comes out in reverse, along with the Knight of Swords upright. I do remember the Knight of Swords. I think that was one of the ones that came out during the pre-shuffle. I just want to show how these cards look with each other, though. You know, this is how I'm looking at them right now, and I'm showing you that because I'm, you know how I said this Death card can be about, you know, really resisting change, and but it can also be about turning inward and sort of having a transformation. These cards, to me, you know, having the Knight of Swords and the King of Swords, sort of this progression of like a younger self, older self. When the King of Swords is reversed, it can represent a manipulative energy or someone who is controlling. What I'm actually feeling from this, though, is it's not as the King of Swords, when it's upright, it represents an authority, someone who sort of demands or commands respect. When the card's reversed, it can speak to someone who just internally is starting to develop a bit of an internal confidence in themselves and having respect for themselves. It can represent an inner truth, an inner knowledge that's awakening. The Knight of Swords coming out upright, this is energy that is goal-oriented, very fast-thinking, working through things super quickly, very ambitious. I feel like this is saying that, you know, this initial Nine of Wands, which came out reversed, which was this like, you know, this feeling of sort of being overwhelmed and defensive. The reason for that is because you are going through something right now that's very intense and is very heavy, but you're doing it quickly and you're doing it well, and you are learning a lot of things. And so let those things go. Let those things be purged out. Let them be released. Allow yourself to change, because that's really what is going to, that's what's needed. It's what's needed to sort of move you guys who are sort of here. This is what's going to energetically speed you along to that other collective group of Leos that are already finding that really perfect match and finding that person who is just like their dream, getting everything that they want when it comes to love and relationships. For the group of you that this resonates with, this is what that group of people probably dealt with in the not so recent past. And the reward for doing that work and really getting to know yourself and letting yourself grow and change and evolve is that you then speed along into that energy where you will be more likely to meet someone who does align to what you want, because you'll be more clear about what it is that you want. That's the thing about, I actually just had a conversation with a friend about this, that before you can have any sort of relationship that's healthy and makes you happy, you have to know what it is that you want from a relationship as well as what it is that you want in a partner. And that isn't about trying to find someone who fills in your missing pieces or makes your sadness not feel sad anymore. That's up to you to do, not another person to come in to like complete you or fix you. That's not how it works. But once you know yourself, once you really truly know who you are and you've accepted and you love that person, then you have an awareness of the type of person that you need. You know, if you're someone who knows that you require a certain amount of adventure to be happy as a person, you probably don't want to end up with someone who's really terrified and scared of doing adventurous things. If you're someone who needs a lot of affection and closeness, physical contact to feel happy and loved, you probably don't need to end up with someone who isn't very affectionate, right? So the more clear you can get about what you need and what you want, you start to see the people who align to that. You actually start to notice the people who are good matches for you. But when you're in a situation where you're not even sure what it is that you want or what would make you happy, and everyone out there just seems like they're not quite right, but they're also not really wrong, and it's just is really confusing. It's a confusing space to try to manifest from. So you have to get clear yourself. You have to get to know yourself, figure out your wants and needs, and then you can sort of translate those things onto the type of person and the type of relationship that you're looking for. This is what you're doing here. If that's not what you're doing, that's what you should be doing here. That's what you should be focused on. That's the type of inner thinking that you should be aiming for. I just want to see if we just get any other cards. This seems pretty clear to me in terms of what's happening. This is definitely an advice reading more so than a true love reading. This is sort of marking out the path that you need to take in order to speed forward and get unstuck from this space and move into the space where you can start to manifest a really healthy relationship and a happy life with that person. So let's see if there's any advice or guidance for Leos regarding this process. Is there any advice or guidance? Your card came out, Leo. I have the Strength card coming out with the Six of Coins coming out. See if we get anything else. I'll go through one more time. Any advice or guidance for Leo regarding this energy, this process for Leo? Any additional insights? Okay. So I'm going to start with the first two cards that came out. Again, the Strength card coming out. This is your card. This represents you. I feel like this is just acknowledgement to you to remember who you are, that at your core you are someone who is extremely strong, someone who has lots of courage, someone that sticks to things that they decide they want to do. The more that you can embody that innate energy that is yours, Leo, the better things are going to come out for you. Now, the Six of Coins coming out, with the Strength card, which represents you, I'm going to see this as saying you need to be kind and generous with yourself. You need to be gentle with yourself. Don't get into the energy of trying to push faster than you should or accomplish more than you're capable of. That you need to do this gently. You need to allow yourself to really be able to sit with this, not feel rushed, not feel like you're being, you're just trying to get through it. It's not how it works. You're going to have to go through it at the pace that you need to go through it to really heal and to let it go. So be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself as you're going through this. Now the other cards that came out, we have the Nine of Wands reversed, which is also the first card that came out here. So that is just a confirmation, again, of that, you know, it's an acknowledgement of that energy of feeling overwhelmed and defensive. And it's just, you know, it's a way of saying like, that's just, it's what you have to feel right now. That's, you know, the advice is just, you have to embrace that. The reason you feel that way is because there's work that you know you need to do and you haven't finished that work yet. And so when that goes away, when you no longer feel this energy, when you don't feel overwhelmed or defensive, that means that you have fully integrated and things that you wanted to keep and release the things that you want to let go of. And so this energy, even though it's not pleasant and it's uncomfortable, this energy is guidance for you to know when your work has been completed and done successfully. The other card that came out, we have the Knight of Coins. It came out sideways. What I feel here is, so if this card was upright, this would be an energy that's very much productive. It's very hard-working energy. I would take that to mean like you are putting in the time you need to put in. It is going to yield results. Keep going, keep going. If this card was reversed, then this can represent, again, that feeling of perfectionism, or even feeling like you're stuck. So this speaks to, again, the Six of Coins saying you have to find a balance between pushing yourself, really being hardworking and focused on the work that you need to do, but also don't try to be perfect, because perfection is not something which exists. It's not something that you can attain. And you have to realize that, because if not, you're going to end up getting yourself stuck, or you're going to move through this too quickly, and it's not actually going to be something that's solved and dealt with. And so it will come back, it'll come up again for you again. So, Leos, that wraps up your bonus reading. Thank you again so much for all of the love and support that you showed for the Leo reading that was posted in the last grouping for the last half of April. I do feel very much that doing this work, doing it well, really healing these things that you're uncovering that you know you need to change, that is just going to speed you right along, right into the energy of that reading. So if you want some motivation or encouragement, go find that video. I'll try to remember to actually link it in the description, or see if I can put it at the end of this video, so you can just click through to it. But it's the Leo reading for the second half of April. Go listen to that, because that is what you're moving towards by going through this process. So thank you again. I will see you guys for another reading coming up soon. That will be for the first half of May, so May 1st through the 15th. If you liked this video, please take a moment to give it a thumbs up. I would love for you to leave a comment. I really enjoy getting to know you guys and interacting with you in the comments. And take a moment, if you are not already subscribed, to subscribe to the channel. When you do that, make sure that you click the bell notification if you want to receive alerts when new videos are posted. That's how you get those alerts through YouTube. And I, again, just want to say thank you so much for the support, and I will see you guys again for your May readings.